So we're getting ready to work on square roots and cube roots, and so I thought we'd go back and talk about what a square is. If I have the number 3 and I square it, that means the same thing as 3 times 3. There are 2 3's being multiplied. That's what that means, and that is 9. If I have 6 squared, means I have 2 6's. So 6 times 6 is 36. These are called perfect squares. Okay? If I were to square root a 9, I'm asking myself what number times itself makes 9. And I happen to note that 3 makes 9, 3 times 3. Also, if I take negative 3 times negative 3, I also get a positive 9. And so a negative 3 is also the answer for this one. But we're just going to work with these right now. If I cube something, so if I have 2 to the 3rd power, that's called cubing. What this is telling me is there's 3 2's being multiplied. So we have 1 2, 2 2's, and 3 2's. Oops. I like that equal sign. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. If I have 3 cubed, that is the same thing as 3 3's. So 1, 2, and 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So 4 times 2 is 8. This 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. These are called perfect cubes. And if I were to find the cube root of a number, I would ask myself what number times itself 3 times would make this number. Okay? So on Google Classroom, you are given a form that looks very similar to this that you are going to fill out. And this is a great tool to have as you're working with square roots and cube roots. So what you're going to do is you have a number, and 1 squared is the same thing as 1 times 1, which is 1. And I have to start over. Today we are working with squares and cubes. When we're talking about squares, we're talking about numbers that are squared. So if I have a squared, that means that I have 2 a's being multiplied. If I want to square root a squared, and then that's going to give me just a. If I'm using numbers, if I have 2 squared, this 2 is telling me there's 2 2's. So 2 times 2 equals 4. The square root of 4 is 2. If I have 6 squared, that means I have 2 6's being multiplied. 6 times 6 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. These numbers here are called perfect squares. So let's identify these. These two are perfect squares. The reason they're perfect squares is a 2 by 2 means that to create a square, I have 2 rows of 2. The 6 squared means that I have a square that is divided into 6. So I have 6 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 6. That's why they're called perfect squares. Now my drawings are not perfect. The other things that we have are cubes. And so if I have a cubed, that means I have 3 a's being multiplied. So it's a times a times a. So if I have 2 cubed, that means there's 3 2's. So I have 1, 2, 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 cubed is equal to 8. If I square root that, cube root that, cube root of 8 is 2. Okay. If I have 4 cubed, that means I'm multiplying 3 4's. So 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is that 72? 74? Punch that in my calculator. 64. You can tell it's an off day for me. Equals 64. These are called perfect cubes. Okay. If you look on Google Classroom, you'll have an assignment that is attached. It's called Squares and Cubes. This is actually going to be in your resource topic to help you with finding it later. So if I have 1 and I square it, 1 times 1 is equal to 1. If I square root 1, well, 1 times itself gave me 1, so the square root's also going to be 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. And you're going to do this all the way down. So 3 squared, and then that's going to give me 9, and then the square root of 9 is going to give me 3. 4 times 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. You see the pattern? And what this is going to give you, these are going to be your perfect squares. Okay? These are cubed. So that means that 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, and that gives you 1. This cube root of 1 is also 1. 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. And this cube root of 8 is 2. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And the cube root of 27 is 3. And you're going to keep filling this out. There's 15 in each column, and these are going to be your perfect cubes. Okay. Finish filling this out, save it, because this tool is going to be very beneficial when you're doing the next assignment. There's a practice problem for you to work on next, so take a look at that.